need to do all these measurements like we have here. I've done some blue lines, the contour, the outline, the major parts, and then divided into red line segments. They're not lines, they're line segments, so that it will help us. And I know about 70% of the videos that are watched are on telephones, so not many of us have access to the laptop, or we're not doing it on the laptop or the computer or whatever, but it will be there. And I can guarantee you that if you follow this, you will be able to draw. And with time, you won't need to do all this because you will be doing it in your mind. So now here we have a measurement of, we're going to be using centimeters, okay? Centimeters. On this one we have 9.5 and horizontal, and then we have 6.5. So now we're going to do this size first, and we're going to check. Another thing about drawing that I would like for all of us to keep in mind: if I look at my objects as geometrical shapes instead of a bison, a buffalo, whatever you want to call them, you will be able to draw. But if you think and look at the subject matter as to what it is, an apple, a candy, a person, a cat, a tiger, whatever it is, your mind is going to tell you, hey, I can't draw that, that's too difficult. But if I just look at geometrical shapes and you see the intersections of them, you're going to be able to draw this. And I'm going to try to prove this to you if you just follow the simple steps. And I know if you're on the phone watching this, give me a chance to see if you learned something or not, and recommend it. But if you give me a chance to show you how to do this, you will be able to draw. Okay, you will be able to draw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this outside line. And this is 6.5. So I'm going to draw a 6.5, but I'm going to set up like an edge of 1 centimeter. Now, if you're good at measurements, you can go ahead and use the metric system or inches, whatever you like. In this case, it's easier. We use the centimeters. So I'm going to set up this side here, which is this angle here, for us to follow first. And the nice thing about videos with this technology is that we can stop forward, backward, and so on, so that you can practice. And I challenge you, I guarantee that you will be able to draw this here. And it's a nice personal feeling when you do it yourselves. They say, hey, I did this. Now, I have several videos. I'm a retired art teacher, but I'm learning about YouTube. There's over 1 billion videos, not films, now they're videos. 9.5 going horizontally, and there's 300 videos per minute that are uploaded onto YouTube. So you multiply how many minutes there are in an hour, how many hours are in a day, how many days are in a year, and that's a lot of videos. So I don't know if you might have seen some of mine, probably not. I have about 13. So I don't know when you will be able to see this one, but give me a chance. I'm an old guy. You can call me the grandfather art teacher. Okay, so here we have the outline. So we look here. We don't have to be perfect, but it helps us to set up our grid. So it's 9.5, 9.5, and then we have 6.5, we have 6.5. Remember, I'm using centimeters. You can use inches, that's up to you. But because it's a fraction here, we're gonna go from here to here, which is gonna be 5 centimeters, half of 9.5. Okay, so we'll go to make it easier, because we're really more interested in the intersections of the geometrical shapes onto the grid line. So let's see what happens. If it doesn't come out, we practice. We practice. So, and I'm going to try to do it twice the size here and then larger. Let's see how it goes. So now we have 5, 5 from here to here, 5, 5, and let's see. And then we have the quarter. Well, now we're going to go down 3. Go down 3. Remember, it's not even. We're off about 5 millimeters. But it doesn't matter because we're working with the lines. Now I'm going to go, since it's 5 from here to here, I'm going to go 2.5. I usually do just 4 sections, but for those of us that are just learning and want to learn how to draw, and now I'm saying that I guarantee it because I taught 6.5 years, 6th graders, taught them art, and once I taught them how to do this, naturally I have to teach them the measurements first. It takes a few weeks and so on to set them up. Then eventually by the end of the school year, they were not needing the grid. They were getting pretty good at the proportions. So now we have the red line. Now I'm going to do this one here, a horizontal one. And these are, to keep it easy, at 1.5. 1.5 because they're 3 down. 1.5 here, 1.5 here. Now remember, the bottom part is not going to be the same measurement because we're not working evenly. They're just grid lines, 2. So we're going to go 2 here. 2. And I'm doing these lines a little dark. My lines are darker on the drawing paper so that you guys can see it. So I'm going to make a line, an arrow here for me to remember, and the X here are the extra lines. This is the quarters here. Let's see if I can remember. Okay. Now, for you to do this, I would like for all of you to do it. It's the stuff you have at home. You just regular rulers. If you have the plastic one, clear ones, better. A pencil. And you don't need the marker. I just did it for visual purposes. Okay. So now I'm going to draw a larger one. Let me show you the one we did the last time. I worked on it. I'm going to try to work on it twice. The actual size. The actual size. The actual size. This is this. Same size. Twice. Same size. Twice. Okay? So how do I do that? Well, all you have to do is double the measurement. Okay, so that's going to be for the regular size here. We're just going to add this one here. Let's see if it fits. It's going to be 9.5. That's 9 and 9 is 18, 19 centimeters. Let's see, we don't have enough space. So we'll go ahead and we'll just go and start it here on the back side. This is going to be on the back side. Okay, so here, let's go here, the 6. I know it looks like a lot complicated, kind of confusing, and it is going to be a little bit if we haven't done it before. I mean, don't worry about it. You're going to get better at it. And then since this is 6.5, 6 and 6 is 12, half and half is 13. So we go from here up 13 centimeters. Okay, so because we have one here, it's 14. So we go here 14 and 13. 14. There you go. Then this here, this line that I'm going to draw here is this line here. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the base of it here. I'm just going to continue it. I'm lining it up with the one I already have. Let's see how fast we can go so it won't be so long. And anyway, you can fast forward it. So here, from here to here is 5. Okay, so it's 5 and 9.5 all together. 8 and 8, 9 and 9 is 18, and 1 is 19. So I go 19. There you go. Here, 19. 19. Now, what we have done, in my mind, I think it's right. So now this line is this line twice. So let's just check. 9.5. So here's 9.5. 9.5. There you go. 9.5. And then going down is 6.5. And now let's go here. Let's check with this one here. 6.5. And the other one should be 6.5. There you go. 6.5. Very good. So now let's go 6.5, which is this one here. There you go. Now half of this is, it's 5 times, it's 10. We're gonna go 10 here because remember they're not even. 10 here. So this is gonna be our diagram, our grid. Then we divide this. If you look at this one's 2.5. Over here, 2.5 twice is 5. 5. And then this one, because they're not even, we're gonna go 2 and 2 is 4. 4. 4. Again, don't let this scare you. So now we have this line, we have the blue line here, we have the base. Now we're going to draw this one's here, I'm sorry, now this one's here, the horizontals. So if we have 1.5, and 1.5 is 3. So I go 3, 3, and draw my line. Okay. Now here, that was from here to here. Now we're gonna do from here to here, and there it is. Okay. So now we have this, and now we need this. This one is from the blue line down. 2.5 on this one. So 2.5. I'm sorry, 2. It's 4. 4 and 4. Now this is if you wanted to draw it larger. So I'm gonna try to draw the actual size and then double. And you have to think of this as like a projector. Okay, now I'm going to darken the lines here. Again, this is not mine, but we're using it for learning purposes. Okay, this is this is for learning. It's a teaching lesson. And again, I would like for all of you to think of objects, any object, faces, people, buildings, nature, anything. You think of them as geometrical shapes. And I can guarantee you that with time and practice, you will get the hang of it. But remember, we have to be patient. You have to be patient. You have to want to learn. You have to challenge yourselves. So now, so we're ready. We have our, let's start with a simpler part. There's nothing simple, but let's start with a simpler part, okay? So we're going to look, and we are going to see where this hip area hits this line segment here. So I look over here, and you can also measure it if you want. I do it visually because I've been doing it for a while, but I'm going to do it with a ruler. So it's about 8, that's 16 over here. So I go ahead. This point that I'm going to do here that I'm going to draw here is this here. Now this here arches about through here, and it comes out here. Then it hits double the size here, about here. You're estimating right now, so it doesn't matter. We're in this area. So now this one here, if we were still to divide this in half, but it goes a little down, further down, and it's about right there, that little section there. Then this part here, from the blue line in, is double. If you can't do it visually, you can do it with your ruler. So that gives us about one, about here. Okay, so now I connect. Sketch it in. Don't worry about being perfect. We're just sketching it in. We can always change all of this. Okay, well now let's do it over here. Now remember, this is supposed to be the same size. In theory, it's supposed to be the same size. I'm looking at the same thing that I did over here. Here I don't have to double. I just look, I place this here, and I see here visually they're about in line, just about in line. Then there's a little space here. Then it intersects here, almost in the center of this. And then it comes about this far. So now I just try to copy it. You can also use your pencil. If you take your pencil at the angle of this and line it up without moving your wrist, you can move your hand, but don't move the wrist. You line it up. I'm going from here through here at that angle, and I get my pencil right at the edge of the line, bring it over, and there you go. You visualize it. Then I go around, bring it down. Now I could sit there and just draw it without, no concern about teaching it, but I want you. Remember, all you need is just a regular rulers. I have one little one and one big one. You can just use that one, doesn't matter, regular pencil. And as we get better at it, we can start adding more material to it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at this part here. We have a little space here. It goes up somewhere in here, a little bit. Then from here to here, it's almost half. Remember the arrow there? That's my blue line. If you want to, you can measure it. There's almost exactly 1 centimeter, so that's 2 centimeters over here. I mean 1 centimeter, I'm sorry, because it's the same thing. We're copying the same thing. Just gotta keep my mind on it. So now I look, I draw my intersection. It comes almost the center of this. It comes down about here. Okay, and if this continues here, it's going to be about here. So now I'm going to try to draw that part here, bring it down, and again notice that I'm not being very careful with very neat with them. Can always, and remember, I'm drawing a little darker for you so you can see it. So now I'm going to draw the chest area, the cavity here. So I'll look at this. Remember, this is the same size. So I go to the blue line. I look up here. Okay. So these here, it's about here. It connects here. Well, let's go to the second one. It goes about halfway, a little bit above halfway. Then it's almost a little to the side from the half. It hits almost in the center. It comes through here. It hits here. You can bring it here. And it comes further down. Then it hits here. And about here. And then from here, it goes about that far. So now I try to draw it in there. Now, if I was drawing this myself, I wouldn't be doing the dots. I would just be sketching it in very quickly. But again, if I'm experienced, if you know how to do this, you don't need to do all this. Okay, but I want you to learn. we're gonna do the same thing we did here. We're gonna do it over here now. But now I'm gonna do this part here, the large one. So I'm gonna look. I see a little V here, which would be about here. The same thing here. Remember, these are not concrete lines, they're sketch lines. They're just to help us. Okay, I look this line here. Let me get another pencil to point. Right there, about there. Then I look at this one here, in between here to here. Notice the distance between here and here, which is this. Now look at the distance between here and here. Well, will be about right there. And then it goes about halfway, just about halfway, just about halfway. Then this part here. Now we're going to go into this area, which is this part here. Okay. So now we're gonna go up. We're here now. Now we're gonna look at this part here. This is about halfway, about halfway. Then it comes all the way down and it hits about here. Okay. Then we go about right here, and then it hits about here, and then about here. So now I sketch it. It's gonna overlap a little bit on the original one. So now we're sketching it in. We're sketching it in. Okay. Now let's do the head. I need the hump over here. So the hump is about here. About here. I look and come in over here, and then it hits about here. So now I draw that part there. Sketch that part. We're not drawing it yet. Okay, so now you can see we're going pretty fast. Now let's go to the shoulder area. Okay, we're gonna work with this the small one here. Here's the blue line. Here's the blue line. Let's work with this circle here. So this circle is about here. Oops, sorry, wrong space. You see, you gotta pay attention. This is the blue line. Here's the blue line. Let me draw my lines here. Forgot the arrow here. Okay, here's the blue line. Here's the blue line. Here's the blue line. Now I go about here, which is this here. Then over here. Then it hits about here. It goes a little bit out. It's still inside the big hole. And then this area here is this area here. And it's about halfway up here. So now I try to sketch it in. Again, these are not concrete lines. We can always adjust it. We're going to have to make adjustments. So let's go ahead and do that one over here. So here's the blue line. Blue line. Let me draw that line there. So, and here's the red line. I'm going to put the R here. So remember. So now let's go ahead and start in this part here. Here it is here. And it hits in here. It hits down here. It comes around here. It hits about here. And it touches over here. So now I sketch it in. Okay, so now we have that. So far, so good. Pretty good. So now let's draw the head. The head is, let's do the small one here first. Notice that it's about the same distance from here to here. So it's on the red line. Here's a red line. We hit it here. We hit here. We're about in this space here. It comes out here. It hits here. It hits here, and now it hits here. So now let's sketch in the head. Now let's go do this one over here. Now this is a red line here. It goes about, intersects closely pretty there. And then from the red line, it intersects about here. It comes out down this way, hits about here. Goes in here and about here. So now we sketch that Okay. Okie dokie. Now let's look at the this section here. Look at here's the blue line. It comes out here, then it hangs in here. It's like an arch, like a hook. Okay, so now we're gonna do this one. I think here we're going to go, so we don't get confused. We'll do that in a little while. Okay, now let's go to the legs. Well, let's go to the shoulder. Let's do the shoulder part. Again, we're looking at geometrical shapes. We're looking at geometrical shapes. We don't care what it is. If we place our geometrical shapes in the right place, boom, you're gonna get a buffalo. In this case, a bison, right? A buffalo bison. There's a difference, but I think buffalo does not have all this. Okay, we're looking at the oval here. Okay, let's draw the oval over here. Hits here. We have a space in here. It intersects here and intersects here. And I bring this one, it's about halfway. And it's a little above the half line. Okay, then we have this, the one that's behind there, that it almost fits in here. Okay, so now let's draw the mane here. It's gonna come and hit here, and then it comes up, and we lose it there. This is going to be the same thing there. We'll get to that later, so it won't get confused. Okay, so now let's get the tail. The tail comes below here. It angles up a little bit. Okay, now let's look at the legs themselves. They're in this box here. They're right below. It arches down. And then one over here, then it goes in, and you might say, well, you're going out of the box. Yes, I am. We can always adjust. Remember, don't worry about it. Now, if it was a commission and that it has to be perfectly, then we're in trouble. But right now, we're just practicing. Okay, we're getting the hang of it. We want to get. And remember, you're trying to also teach your brain to do the measurements in your head. Okay? Now, we're going to think again, geometrical shape, like a little rectangle here, arches out, and it comes up. And we do, and again, if you're following me, and I challenge you, and let me know in the comments, if you were able to do it just following this. And then I guarantee you that when I was a young kid, I would see these people on TV, or I would go to festivals, and you have these people drawing so fast, and how can they do it? What are they doing so fast? Well, that's all we do. Once you start practicing, and that's all we do, hey, but we don't have time for that. You see this it's an exercise to relax. And again, here's an angle. Notice that it hits here and it hits about here. I angle it. You can also use your pencil. Look at the angle. Don't move your wrist. There it is. Look at that. Pretty close, pretty close. And then we have this one almost touching the line. And we get here. We go in, go out, just like we did here. We're doing it over here. We haven't done that one yet. So now I go here. Notice that this comes out, angles. It's almost to the line, and notice the folding part of the leg there. It angles. Take your pencil if you want. There you go, pencil. So this is going to be this, and notice that it hits here. It goes up. Comes down to the side, excuse me, and then it comes down, and it comes straight down, and then it comes up this way. Okay, now let's do the small one over here, the original one. So this here hits above, angle, there you go, angle, then he hits right about here, goes up, then he goes out this way. Okay, now we go in, this goes about here to the back, arches a little bit, okay, then goes in there, this hits about here, comes out straight, angles in, about there, and then we bring it down straight, then it comes out this way. Now we can start seeing that thing coming out. We can see it coming out. We can see it coming out. Okay, very good. So now we see the ear here, which is about halfway. Notice that, about halfway. And it comes down below about here. No, I think this is the horn. We'll draw that in there for now. Then here's the ear. That's the horn, I think, and then here. And that is over this way here. We look at this one over here. It's about halfway. The horn is about here. Okay. So I think we got the major part now. So now we're starting to see, we're getting a feeling of this animal, of this bison. Now let's look at the final one. Now we're gonna add a little hair to it. I guess it's called hair or mane, whatever. Okay, here let's draw the small one first. So now notice here I don't have lines on this one, but now it's the same thing. I'm gonna be looking now and see how it goes out this way, and we had some hair here. We had that. Ear, the eye is right below the horn, and let's see, let me go ahead and show you. We're gonna take the tape off and let us see here so we can use it to guide us now. Okay, so now for learning purposes, let's go ahead and draw this line across. Just to guide us. Lining up with a red line. Okay, there you go. So we see some hair in here, comes up here, the horn, here, bring it down. Remember, you can after you do your remember now this part here is going to be behind this other one over here, so we bring it down and it arches a little. It's going to be behind there. So let's go back to the small one and then we'll transfer it. So now this is in the upper part here. We draw the little eye. Such a big animal with little eyes. And then we connect. And we draw the nose. And then we add the hair here. We get the muscle part of the, then we bring it down. And we got this here. And it starts giving us the shape of our animal. Okay. Again, don't try to be perfect. I mean, yeah, try to be perfect, but if it doesn't come out perfect, don't worry about it. It can only be done with a lot of practice, patience, and trying and one and two. And I can guarantee you too that it will help you in thinking. It will help you in other subject matter because you are controlling your brain. Or we should be controlling our brain. Don't let the brain control you. Notice here, okay? So now let's go ahead and finish this one over here. Connect, bring it down, the tail, and notice that it's right hitting here, the little fuzzy stuff. And then you can start eating whatever you want. You can make your own. It's your buffalo, bison. And then we turn in, we angle it, we look up here, notice that his eye is in this area here, right below the horn. And we're gonna overlap this here into the other one. And then we have, now I'm gonna draw this part here, which is about, it's about halfway between here, halfway. We don't get to see it, and then we'll just draw it, and it comes and hits this line here at the bottom. This one here. And comes up and it connects. Then we have the ear part that comes out this way to his one leg. Okay, then we have another one coming out like here, and bring it up a little bit more. Then it comes down, and hairy here. Take the chest area and hit this here. Okay. The angle down a little bit. In. Up straight. Then we have this one coming up in front. Back. Down. Then a little over this way. And then we have, notice this one here is here. And now we have our bison. And there you are. Let me get the ear in here. And there you are. Now what you would start doing is you would start erasing everything, polishing it up, looking carefully, more carefully to where the parts are, and polish it. And again, I draw, you follow. So what did we do? Today, we divided our measurements. You can get any picture you want. With time, you start learning, and your brain becomes the measurement tool. Your brain becomes your ruler. Your brain becomes your ruler. And you'll be doing your measurements. So what if I wanted to draw this one in the center? Well, then you would make this measurements in the center. Okay? Once you get all that done, you start erasing your lines. But remember, on my situation here, I drew it here on this side of the camera. they're darker so that you can see them, you know, and then you start polishing it. Then you can start doing your coloring, you can add your environment and so on. So I hope you learned something. I hope that you can see if I can do it twice, you know, just double the size, like having a projector and moving the projector back, you know, it enlarges the picture. So thank you very much. Okay, so good day, thank you, and let's go ahead and again, this was the lesson. This is not my buffalo, it's just a picture of another artist that we use to learn to draw. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Bye-bye.